Back here on Sports Night, we've got lethal weapons on the set with us. John Bones Jones, Rashad Evans are here, and there is Ryan smack dab in the middle in case things get out of line. These two are going to be fighting on April the 21st at Phillips Arena. Of course, UFC President Dana White made the announcement. And Rashad, let's start with you. I know you like coming to Atlanta. Last time I think you were here, you knocked Chuck Liddell into tomorrow.
Right.
Did you not?
Yeah, I did. It was a big weekend for me. Came to the fight, big underdog. Everybody thought Chuck Liddell was going to do his thing, and I shocked the world.
And Phillips Arena is going to be the scene. What do you know, John, about the city of Atlanta?
You know what? I know that the Monique show is here. I was on the Monique show not too long ago, which was a great time. I actually have family that lives here. It's a beautiful place.
John, you were a commentator when Rashad fought Mr. Davis back in January, and I watched the entire fight. It didn't appear to me that you were impressed by what was going on in the ring. Am I wrong with that assessment?
You know, I thought it was an interesting fight. You know, I've seen a lot from both Rashad and Phil, and I was just expecting more action. You know, more combinations, more legit tactics. It just kind of seemed like you know, everybody was just leaning on each other the whole time. So,
Rashad, I didn't see you leaning on anybody. I saw you as a tactician break down the young Mr. Davis, who isn't quite the veteran that you are in this game. Talk about your approach to that fight and how you ultimately won, because a lot of people thought you were going to take a loss. Yeah,
I mean, you know, going to that fight, I wanted to make sure I negated Phil's wrestling ability. You know, he had a high-level wrestling, and I thought I could out-wrestle him, so that's what I tried to do. But, you know, that whole camp was a tough camp for me. You know, about a week before the fight, I broke 3 ribs sparring, and then I just like, you know what, I'm
which
going there.
side was that?
Don't answer that. Don't answer that.
It don't matter. He can go for it. He can go for it. But, you know, I broke 3 ribs, so I was like, you know what, I'm going to go in there and just see what happened. And when I got in the fight, I felt a little bit comfortable. I seen his combinations real well, and I just let the fight just, you know, develop.
Now, for those that don't know, you two have a history together. You were sparring partners for the world-famous Greg Jackson. He's the youngster here, Rashad. What do you know about him, and what did you learn when you were sparring partners together?
I used to love training with John. You know, he was a real fun training partner. You know, we brought a lot out in each other, and it was good. You know, I know that he's a very fast learner. I know that he loves the sport. I know he's a student of the game. So that's one thing I learned about him.
John, do you think that working with Rashad has elevated your career in some form? Being the savvy veteran that he is, being around the game so long, you still being relatively young to it, kind of being under his tutelage, I might say, I don't want to be disrespectful, but has that kind of helped you become who you are?
You know, I can't say that. I can't say that I was ever under his tutelage. You know, I've been under the tutelage of Greg Jackson, and it's just as simple as that. You know, Greg's my head coach, Coach Mike Winklejohn, some new jiu-jitsu coaches, you know, great wrestling program. But, you know, it's a team. You know, they say iron sharpens iron, and I definitely consider myself iron. Rashad's the winner. I consider him iron, and we sharpened each other. I'm sure we both learned a lot from each other, but to say I was under his tutelage is not accurate.
Now, it's kind of a weird situation as well. This history just keeps extending between you two now, because you were supposed to fight Mauricio Shogun Hua, right, at the UFC 128. You get hurt. John steps in. He wins the light heavyweight crown. How bizarre was that?
Here comes the bad blood.
It wasn't bad for me at all. You know, when the opportunity came for John to take the fight, I advised that he should take the fight. And when John was fighting him, I was going for John. You know, I rooted for John for a while for him to win, and you know, I like to watch him fight. So when he won the belt, I knew he was going to win the belt. I knew once he got the opportunity to fight Shogun, he was going to beat him.
Rashad, did he call you out after winning that belt, though?
Nah, he called me out before.
Like Apollo Creed, I want you, Stallion.
To my understanding, you were cool because y'all were boys, but you were cool being the #1 contender, the #2 contender. And then in an interview, it's kind of like, he brought it up, you know, yeah, I'll fight him, and that kind of was like touchy grounds for you. Is that the case?
Yeah, it was, man. He did an interview, and he said that he would fight me, and I was like, all right. But, I mean, you know, like I said, you can say what you say in an interview, but at least you can have the courtesy to be like, listen, bro, this is what I meant by it. And he didn't even have the courtesy to do that. I didn't talk to him until, like, a couple weeks later when he was with Phil Nurse, and then he had Phil Nurse call me, and then he was like, hey, you know, John wants to talk to you. But it was not until then I even got to speak to John about the whole situation. And I'm like, you know what? As a man, you can come to me and say if you got something to say. If you want to fight, we can fight. But it wasn't the first time John was out of pocket by saying he can whoop me. And I confronted him about it one time, and he's like, nah, bro, it's not even like that. But then he goes and he does it again, so I'm just like, we got to fight.
John, I got 2 kids, so I'm not trying to get in the middle of anything. But After hearing what Rashad just said about the questioning, is that how it took place?
No, not at all. You know, I did an interview with Ariel Hawani. You know, the interview is well documented. Actually, I've tweeted it before, the full version of the interview. And basically in this interview, it's saying, hey, listen, Rashad is somebody who I train with. You know, he's a friend of mine, and my job is to compete against some of the best fighters in the world. And if Dana White absolutely made me fight Rashad, then I would take the fight because that's my job. But that's if he absolutely made me. And, you know, Rashad took those words.
But you didn't say the Dana thing until afterwards. You didn't say, you said, yeah, I'll fight him. I mean, if Dana, you know, if Dana made us fight, I mean,
that's the same comment. That's the same exact, as you just worded it differently.
Well, wording it makes the difference of the whole thing.
Not really, that's
Yes,
petty.
it does, because at the end, if you say it at the end, it's more of a disclaimer. See, if you say it in front, then it's like a precursor, and it's like, okay, this is what I meant before. But if you say it at the end, it's like a disclaimer. I'll fight him. I mean, you know, Dana White said so.
That's petty. End of the day, both of our jobs is to compete against the best martial artists in the world. Right now, we're the top 205-pound physical combatants in the world, and we're going to see who's meant to be the champ.
Sounds like he's calling you names. He called you petty. I'm just saying. Interesting. John, let's talk about your experience. I thought maybe you would get up there and do something and see if Ryan could separate the two. Anyway, let's talk about your experience. You step in for Rashad when he goes down, and you win the title. Take us through what that whole ordeal, if that's what you want to call it, was like for you, finding out at the last minute you were going to get this shot.
Yeah, it was an awesome experience. You know, basically a young man joining the sport. In a very short time, you know, I got skipped up to a title shot, and it was a great time for me. You know, it was my dream to be considered the #1 fighter in the world. It was a passion. It was on my vision board. It's something that I meditated and focused on all the time, and it finally came to pass. And, you know, I felt as if all the stars were aligning. Maybe God was blessing me and putting things together for me, and it happened. And now I'm a 3-time world champion, and I'm living my destiny, and I'm not apologetic for it.
Used to be pretty cool. Now you're on different sides of the fence. As a competitor, what impresses you about Rashad?
Rashad has very devastating grappling. He's a good wrestler and he's a good grappler, and that's about it.
That's about it. Okay, Rashad, what impresses you about John?
He's creative. John is creative, and you know, he fights with that youth of just not knowing anything can happen. You know, that youth when you just go out there and you think that everything's gonna go the way you plan. Before you know it, always don't happen like that. I admire that.
Well, again, the controversy continues to swirl here on set. I'm doing my best to stir it up. Not for these two to fight. I just want to see Ryan get caught up in between things. Because it's going to be a great YouTube moment, if nothing else. More with Jon Jones and Rashad Evans when we come back here on Sports Night. And welcome back to Sports Night. Jon Bones Jones and Rashad Evans in studio here with us. They are fighting at Phillips Arena, the UFC Light Heavyweight Championship taking place on April the 21st. You guys are both successful in the wrestling world. You were both JUCO champions in college. Rashad, let's start with you. It seems like the transition is that much easier to MMA when you have a wrestling background. Is that true?
I mean, I think so. You know, I'm just, you know, it can just be from my point of view, but I believe so, and I think it's just mainly because when you're able to dictate the pace of the fight and take it where you want to go, that's pretty much controlling the fight, and you know, that's what gets you the wins.
Same deal.
You know, my wrestling has impacted me a little differently. You know, I think wrestling has just really made me comfortable with combat. You know, I'm a guy who's been training and fighting for 4 years, and you know, I've suppressed a lot of people, and I really think it's because of the comfortability with if I can use that word, with combat. You know, wrestling is a sport. It's just you versus one other man, and it's a battle and will and strength and mind, and you know, no tools, just you and him, and that's what wrestling has done for me. My very first fight, I felt so comfortable walking into the octagon, and I think it's from all those years in wrestling.
2 previous state champs. If you guys were to just wrestle on a mat, who would walk out the victor?
I'll beat him.
You beat him.
It'd be interesting. It'd be an interesting.
We wrestled before in the gym. We had some good matches.
It'd be an interesting match.
Last time we went, nobody scored.
It'd be an interesting match.
You're just saying it's interesting, but originally he's saying, I beat you.
Well, I disagree. Obviously, I give myself no disadvantages to any man when it comes to physical competition. I'm not a weightlifter, but when it comes to mixed martial arts, I really have supreme confidence.
Very athletic family. You got a younger brother, Chandler, that's about to be drafted. Some saying a first-day draft pick, maybe as high as the first round. If you were to assess his skills as a football player, how would you break his skills down?
Who's that, my brother?
Yeah.
Chandler's a great football player, man. He has great hips. He has great agility. He has great awareness, great timing. He's good with his hands. He wrestled as well. He's been the younger brother of me and Arthur his whole life, so that's not easy when he's talking about fighting for food and things like that, you know. He's a great kid. He's a high honor roll student. He's a leader. He doesn't party. He does everything right. I look up to my little brother in a lot of ways.
And your brother Arthur, you mentioned, plays for the Baltimore Ravens. So how do they stay with football and you get involved with MMA?
You know what? I was just, honestly, I was just too skinny. You know, I was a guy who was 6'4", about 170 my senior year in high school. I couldn't catch the ball, couldn't throw the ball accurately. And so they put me on a defensive line, at defensive end. And football was never really my passion, and I was really thin, and I just simply wasn't recruited.
They're big and strong because they're defensive linemen. Your brother's going to be playing in the NFL. You have one already playing in the NFL. What if you got them in the octagon? What happens? Even though they're bigger and stronger, you take them down?
Yeah, well, Chandler's not, he doesn't really have a fighter spirit or heart. You know, he's a total lover. He's really charismatic, really funny, and I could just never see him even getting into a confrontation. Arthur, on the other hand, he is a lion in every way. He's really an alpha male. He's good at everything he does. He's always been the captain at every sport, and he's just an amazing athlete. He really is. He knows how to use his body.
Davis had you outsized, longer reach, a tad bit heavier, just a tad, but you handled him. Now, when you're talking about John, he's got one of the longest reaches in UFC. I mean, it's like ridiculous. He's got like a 2,000-foot reach. How do you plan on combating that? And are you worried about that because he's a lot quicker than Davis was?
No, I'm not worried about his reach too much. You know, like I said, I trained with him before, so I know how to get inside and do what I need to do. I know how to fight the fight that I need to fight. You know, there's things that John does well, and there's things that he doesn't do well. So I just know how to capitalize on what he doesn't do well.
Earlier, he kind of said on our radio show that you, being an older fighter, may not have the lust and the hunger that a younger fighter 4 or 5 years in has. Is he wrong about that?
Yeah, he's wrong about that. I mean, this is all I got for me. I don't know how many more years I got, but I mean, for him, he's on top of the world. You know, having fun, traveling, doing all the things. Everybody's telling him how great he is. He believes it. You know, so when you where he is right now, he should be looking out for me, because right now he believes that he is untouchable. He believes that he is something. He hasn't had the pitfalls of what happens in the fight.
Rashad, some guys relish having the chip on their shoulder, being the underdog. You seem to be one of those guys. Is that a fair assessment?
That's me all day. You know, I've always been the underdog. I've always been the guy who nobody really ever gave a chance to. So, you know, to be in a situation where somebody would think that just because I'm older, I don't got the heart to compete is crazy.
Oh, I never said he doesn't have the heart to compete.
No, he said that.
Yeah, I never said he doesn't have the heart to compete. I said that there's something about being really young and fresh. You know, I haven't seen the world. I don't have the riches, and I don't have this, and I don't have that.
You got a Bentley, don't you, or a Rolls Royce?
I do have a Bentley.
Oh, well,
I do have a Bentley, 2012 Bentley.
Okay.
But you know, bottom line really is that I want more. I want more. I want more for my family's future, and I have a dream and a vision that's so much bigger than what I'm doing right now. You know, that's why I won't say that. But
what were you about to say?
No, I'm just saying this is just another chapter in my life, a chapter in my story, and I think that it's so much greater than this fight, and that's why I feel calm and everything, and I'm extremely confident. I do believe my own hype, and I'm working towards making it true.
But that's the worst thing you can ever do.
Well, it's working for me.
It's working for you.
I'm not saying that it's an arrogance thing.
It is an arrogance thing.
No, it's not. I
let me tell you something.
I believe that I'm the greatest. Muhammad Ali said.
There's been so many of you though.
Muhammad Ali said that I said I was the greatest way before I was the greatest. I made the world believe that I was the greatest, and then. But with his own self-conviction, he became the greatest.
Okay,
and
but
that's
he
the
also
attitude
was
that I have.
humbled
I believe that I
many
have an attitude of a champion.
He was humbled many
and
times.
of a winner. I have an attitude of a champion and a winner, and I'm not apologetic for it.
You need to be humble.
And I think it's something that people in America could learn from.
No, you need to be humble.
It's very important. It's very important to believe in yourself. It's
you can believe in yourself. You can be believing in yourself, but you need to be humble.
And people, this world will pass you by if you give another man anything over yourself. Anything over yourself. So I will say, yes, I'll say I'm the best looking. I'll say that I'm the most funny. I'll say I'm the most charismatic. I'll say I'm the most mainstream. I'll say everything. And I believe it in my heart.
Rashad, do you think some of his fame is unwarranted? Is that what I hear?
No, I definitely think that he's definitely warranted his fame and all the accolades that come along with that.
And earned it.
I just think that he's just so arrogant and so full on himself and thinks that he is something to the world that has never been. There ain't nothing new under the sun. There ain't no lesson that, you know, that he thinks that he's going to teach the world that the world hasn't already seen.
You know what I can
You
try,
just
though?
you're just a drop in
I
the
can
bucket,
try.
bro.
Listen, I'm not a drop
That's
in the bucket,
it.
and I can try
That's it.
because
You're just
I'm
a drop
telling
in the
America
bucket.
and
You
the world
just-
they
that's
need
what you are.
positive role models.
You
They
can
need
do what you
positive
do. I
impacts,
mean, you can do what
and
you
they
do.
need a
And
message of
But you can
positivity.
do
They
what
need
you
a
do.
message
You
of
can do
being
what you do and
confident
be
and
proud
being
of that, and that's
overcomer.
great and everything.
I'm a person who came from
But don't
absolutely
ever
nothing,
don't
Rashad.
and-
Absolutely
bro,
nothing.
you're preaching to the choir.
And I have
You're preaching to the
a
choir,
story
bro.
that can inspire others, and
You're
me
preaching to the
inspiring
choir.
others means way more to me than what you think about me, or you can
Bro,
call it arrogance.
listen,
and I know that my message is helping other kids in my hometown, kids everywhere. I get messages on Twitter every day about being an inspiration, and that means
get the
more to
same
me
messages.
than what you think. You can call it arrogant
You're
now,
just arrogant.
and years down the
You're
road,
arrogant.
somebody's going to appreciate it, and that means more
No.
than your insecurity to me.
Insecure. I'm not insecure about nothing. I just know the pitfalls of life. I know the things that happen, and I don't honestly believe this. You lose a fight, you will change the person who you are. You won't be the same
I
person.
won't.
Because you know why?
I won't.
Your fabric is fake.
My fabric is
You're
fake.
fake.
Tell me how my fake, Rashad.
I'm not gonna get into that right here, but you
Okay.
know I know.
Tell me how my fake.
You know
Rashad.
I know.
I know that you know.
Oh yeah.
So tell me
Because
something.
I see you in life.
Please, so tell me
I see
something.
you in life.
Why
You
am I
can
fake,
you can
Rashad?
sit up here.
Why am I
You can
fake?
sit up here and put on a holy, oh, John, I'm this and I believe in this and that. But I see
I
you
do
in life.
believe.
I see
believe.
you in life.
I do believe. What are you talking about? Me being a Christian? am I not
your life,
perfect,
the way you
Rashad?
live, the way you live.
Do I
way
need to
you
be
live.
perfect, Rashad, to be a
John.
Christian now?
No, you don't need to be perfect, but at least you can do this. Be who you say you are.
I am who I say I am.
No, you're not.
I am who I say I am.
I know
Did I
you
say?
know.
Did I say I was perfect? Did I say I was an
You
angel?
don't got to be perfect,
Are you
but
perfect?
just don't be fraudulent.
I'm not fraudulent.
Just don't be
bro.
fraudulent.
I'm not fraudulent. I'm me. Every day, I'm a 24-year-old young man who's been thrown into fame and this whole different lifestyle, and I'm learning.
These are
and
the
I'm
excuses.
growing
These are the
every
excuses
month.
that we make.
I am growing.
These are the
I'm not
excuses that
making
we make
excuses.
when
I'm
being
taking
fake.
care of my business.
But like I said,
I'm not making
when you,
excuses,
when you
bro.
feel it, when you fall,
Listen.
when you fall,
And what a
'cause you
negative,
will fall.
what a negative energy
'Cause
you're
you will
coming
fall.
from. Why are you
No,
worried
'cause
about
you
my
will
fall? You're not saying that
You
you're
know
gonna
what?
make
I
me
hope
fall.
you never fall, but you will.
After
You hope I never fall? You're fighting me in April.
After April,
You fall.
when USC 145 is done, will you guys be able to hug and shake hands and the whole homeboy hookup?
Because you guys have a past. This,
Right.
this thing
You
seems
guys were
like
cool
it's
before all this.
It seems like it's more personal than what it would usually be because of your past. Is that fair to say?
It's really not personal for me. It's really not personal for me. I'm a person who's chasing my dreams and making these dreams come true. I have a vision board at home, and everything on my vision board, they're slowly starting to come to pass. So I don't have any drama. I feel as if my life is right where it needs to be. I'm happy for myself. I have no enemies. I have no hatred for anybody. You know what I mean? The negativity, the negative vibe, the negative vibration in this room is not coming from me. So I'm happy. And whether or not me and Rashad will be friends, friendship isn't necessary for me, but respect is all I ask.
How about you, dog?
The question was, am I gonna be able to like him after this?
After 145, after y'all get it on, we're not saying who the winner is. Will it be a firm handshake? Will it be, let's go
course,
sit
yeah.
down and have a sandwich,
Of course, yeah. Respect will be passed because whenever you fight somebody, you always feel that because you feel like you guys really went into combat and you really feel like you share something. But outside of that, that's about it. I don't respect John as a person. I think John is fake, and John is fake just by even sitting here and saying that this is not going to be personal. Of course this is personal. He want to smash me as bad as I want to smash him. He don't forget the look in my face when I went and get off and when I was beating him in practice. He don't forget that. He don't forget that.
That is so funny.
He don't forget it. He don't forget it. He do not
Rashad,
forget it.
You are so stuck on that day you held me down at practice. You're talking about a day. First of all, it's practice. You're talking about practice, something that you don't think
Like
will be
Iverson.
held against you.
Practice? Allen Iverson.
Practice?
We talking about practice, not the
We talking
game.
about practice,
Not
homie.
the game that I love. We talking about practice, right? Not the game.
Yeah.
So anyways, I go out there, I put my heart on the line, I compete the best I can, right? This guy's talking about a day where, at the time, this guy's supposed to be my brother, right? We train, you see me weak, you see me strong. You're talking about a day where you held me down for maybe 30 seconds and said, okay, John, work to get up. And I
30
said, no,
seconds.
just let me up, bro. You didn't strike me, you didn't submit me, you
About to
held
cry.
me
You were
down.
about to cry.
I was about to cry.
You would cry. He was like, "Get off me, get off me," and then he gave like the 1, 2, 3, and he couldn't move. Like,
So
"Get
what
off
happened
me."
was, so check this out. When I was getting ready to fight Rampage Jackson, he insulted me so much. And then after the fight, After you beat someone, you can't brag. You can't go back and say, aha, or I can't put the picture online of him knocked out. I almost had to win with grace, right? So I'm trying not to get into this pre-fight stuff too much, because right now I have a picture with my foot in Rampage's mouth, but I never put it online because you got to win with grace. So all this stuff you're saying right now, after I win the fight, it's going to be so irrelevant. That's what I'm saying. My storyline is so much bigger than this fight right here. So I'm trying to keep it classy. But at the same time, it'll be what it is.
And
We should all pray to John Jones. John Jones,
I see,
the great.
and that's how you
The
feel
great.
about me.
The
I never
great.
said that I was high and mighty. That's how you feel about me.
John just told us how.
Oh man, John is fake. John is fake.
But John
jealousy
just
is
told us-
Can y'all see this? Can y'all see
Jealousy
how
is a
fake
weak
it is?
emotion.
John just
If
told
somebody-
us how he's going to handle winning the fight. How you going to handle winning the fight?
He doesn't know that because that's not his mindset. That's not the.
So
the
wait,
being
I'm
that he
going
is.
into the fight
He's not
to,
that type of
to
athlete.
lose the fight. Is that what you're trying to say?
I'm not saying you're going into to lose.
So my mindset is not what? Tell me what mindset is, since you know better than anybody else.
We're sitting here with two of the best MMA fighters in the world. And this is real. This is real, people. This isn't put together. There's no script. This is real.
I don't know
it's going
about
down
you.
in Atlanta in April.
Yeah. I am looking forward to April the 21st. John Jones, Rashad Evans, looking forward to the competition. We thank you both for coming by here on Sports Night. Doesn't get much better than that. When we come back, we'll talk some NFL and some free agent running backs out there here on Sports Night. Look out.
Good stuff.